This video is designed to help you write proportions from percent sentences in English. So this question, this first slide, says what percent of 48 is 12? So there's a couple ways to think about this, but if you do not know the percent, then you should definitely write x over 100. And then the question is, what are we looking for? Which goes on the top of this proportion? So you should realize that as a percent, this is the part on top, and this is the whole on bottom. This is the percent side. We're going to call this just the number side over here, where we're trying to figure out what's going on. So in this problem, the thing we should recognize is that it says what percent of 48 is 12. You could also think of this as what percent out of 48. So whenever you see of, you can think of it that way as out of 48, which means that 48 is the whole and 12 is the part. You can also sometimes look at these sentences and rearrange them. 12 is what percent of 48? In other words, 12 is the piece, and that's some percentage of 48. If you go ahead and solve this proportion using either cross-multiplying or recognizing that 48 is 4 times 12, so 100 must be 4 times x, you're going to find that x is then 25. And so your answer is 25%. So 12 is 25% of 48. In this second slide, what we're missing is a different thing from the proportion. Previously we were missing the percent. This time we are missing the number that is out of 80. In other words, this is going to be out of 80. From the of there. So let's write that proportion. So we don't know what number it is, but immediately we can write 15 over 100 because we know that there's 15% in here. That allows us to do 15%, and this is the part again, and the whole again. And this allows us then to write that we are looking for the number that is 15% out of 80. So we're immediately able to write 80 as the whole and x as the part. Okay? So if we solve this one, again, by cross-multiplying, probably the easiest way to do this one. So let's actually do that step. That's going to be 15 times 80 equals 100x. 15 times 80 is 1200, so that means 1200 equals 100x. Divide each side by 100, and you're going to get that x is 12. 1200 divided by 100 is 12. And so what you find is that x is 12. And that again looks in proportion. 80 is a little smaller than 100, and 12 is a little smaller than 15. So again, we use that idea of out of 80 to know that 80 is the whole. If you wanted to reword this sentence, you could say 15% of 80 is what number? And you could say, oh, I just want to do 15% of 80. And you'll actually notice that if you multiplied both sides in this proportion by 80, you would get 15 over 100 times 80 equals x, and that could also be written as 0.15 times 80 equals x, which shows us the more sort of natural way to do this multiplication or to solve this problem if you were used to algebra where you knew how to multiply decimals with numbers as well. This is a challenging way to do it if you're missing the whole, which is on our next slide. So this final slide says that 20 is 30% of what number? So we don't know out of what number? We don't know the number that we're finding a percentage of. So this problem is asking us to write 30 over 100, because there's our 30%. And again, the part up here, and the whole here. And this is the percent side. And over here, we're going to get the number side. And we don't know what the whole is. So the whole is going to be x in this case, and 20 is the part. This could be something we can solve proportionally as well, or we can, by inspection, say that 30 is half again as big as 20. So we need a number there, and it turns out that if you solve this, this is 66.6 repeating for our original number.